What if I told you that while most pros were obsessed with carbon bikes, strict diets, and 9 p.m. bedtimes, these guys treated the peloton like an after-party?
Hey guys, we are here in Colombia in Barranquilla for Sagan Fondo.
They turned up on supermarket bikes, hungover, pulling wheelies, and still humiliated everyone else. And nobody embodied that chaos better than a certain Slovakian who made the peloton his playground. His message to the sport was simple. Why so serious? This is about one of the wildest, most unpredictable cyclists the sport has ever seen. Meet the rider who's lived it all, the podium highs, the crushing lows, and most of all, the chaos of the after-party. January 26, 1990. Žilina, Slovakia, a town known more for heavy industry than handlebars, a baby named Peter Sagan entered the world. His dad ran a grocery shop, his mum worked non-stop, and Peter was mostly raised by his older sister. Little did she know, she'd just raised cycling's ultimate party animal. From the start, Sagan was pure chaos. His brother Uri rode too, but Peter, he made everything louder. Trick riding, bunny hops, wheelies, it looked like he was rehearsing for a circus. But here's where the legend really begins. In one Slovak Junior Cup, Peter had a problem. He had no bike, and most kids would have just skipped the race. Not Peter. He grabbed his sister's clunky supermarket special. Rusted gears, brakes that screamed for help, and yet he lined up anyway. People laughed. The officials looked confused. But when the race started, Peter Sagan turned that grocery store junker into a winning machine. He didn't just survive, he won. By a mile. That's Sagan in a nutshell. For him, good equipment was optional. As long as there was chaos in the air and champagne waiting at the finish, Peter was in his element. By his teens, Peter was wrecking local races, pulling wheelies mid-race, bunny hopping curbs, and treating the peloton like his personal playground. Other juniors looked like future pros. Peter looked like the drunk uncle who'd showed up at a wedding and somehow stole the dance floor. In 2008, he became Junior MTB World Champion. A year later, Liquigas signed him as a pro at just 19. Nobody thought a kid like that was supposed to be ready for the big leagues. But Peter never waited for permission. He just crashed the party anyway. 2012 Tour de France, his very first one. For rookies, the dream is simple. Survive the tour, maybe grab a little TV time in a breakaway. Not Peter. Instead, straight away he took 3 stage wins, and each celebration looked like he'd already finished the after-party. Flexing like he was the Hulk, spraying champagne like a fire hose. Podiums that looked more like circus acts than ceremonies. Every finish wasn't just a victory, it was a performance. The nickname Torminator was born. And let's be real, the champagne bottles didn't stand a chance. From then on, Sagan wasn't racing, he was performing. No hands on descents, making reporters laugh mid-race.
You know that?
No.
It's from the Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah.
Cycling was supposed to be serious. Peter made it feel like Saturday night. But he wasn't done. In the following years, 2015, 2016, 2017. 3 rainbow jerseys in a row. Nobody had ever done that before, nobody's repeated it since. Other riders lived like monks, strict diets, no distractions. Peter, he lived like a rock star and still owned the podium. They were counting calories, he was counting champagne corks. Paris-Roubaix 2018, cycling's hell on earth. Cobbles, crashes, and complete carnage. Sagan? He attacked solo, left everyone behind, and rode into the Roubaix velodrome like the DJ had just dropped his favorite track at the finish line. Verdict? Hell conquered. Champagne on ice. It was brutal. It was chaotic. It was Peter Sagan at his absolute peak. That Paris-Roubaix victory wasn't just another notch on his palmares. It proved that the kid on the supermarket bike wasn't just a showman, he could conquer the hardest, nastiest race in cycling history. Destiny. Chaos turned into legacy. Of course, chaos eventually catches up. Crashes, illnesses,
During the night, I started to vomit all night and I didn't sleep.
and COVID seasons. His results dipped and the green jerseys stopped coming. But did Sagan stop being Sagan? Not a chance. Even if he finished 70th, he'd still pull a wheelie for the crowd. Still cracks a joke with a mic shoved in his face.
I think it's normal for the people if they go on the toilet or not.
Still reminded everyone that cycling wasn't just numbers on a power meter, it was supposed to be a party. Sagan was chaos, but the blueprint, the one who laid the foundation for what it means to be a rock star on two wheels, that was written years earlier. Italy's own, cycling's original rock star. Born in Tuscany, land of wine, sun and espresso, Mario was basically raised on carbs and chaos. The whole family rode bikes, but Mario, he was the only one who turned cycling into an excuse for champagne showers. By 7, he won everything. His only loss was due to a technicality and the time he literally got scared of his own shadow, which honestly feels on brand. The only thing scarier than Mario was Mario. As he grew, the same pattern followed. Where other kids learned discipline, Mario learned flair. In fact, when he turned pro with Del Tonga in 1989, he didn't tiptoe into the peloton. He strutted in like a VIP skipping the line at a nightclub. Golden tan, jersey unbuttoned, hair bouncing like a shampoo ad. And while everyone else suffered through mountain stages, gasping for oxygen, Mario's plan was simple. Skip the mountains, get a tan, sip Prosecco, then show up for the sprint like nothing happened. Other riders were dying to make the time cut. Mario was sweating out last night's champagne and still blowing past them at 70 km per hour. That freedom gave him room to go full showman. He wasn't content with boring kits. One day, zebra stripes, another, a muscle suit, and yes, the unforgettable Julius Caesar entrance, laurel crown, the whole empire. It was ridiculous. But here's the thing, when you actually win afterwards, ridiculous becomes iconic. And Mario always won, because for him, the race wasn't just about being first to the line, it was about proving he could party harder, look flashier, and still smoke the most serious professionals alive. He even joked once that the only thing he enjoyed more than champagne showers was hitting the subscribe button. The attitude carried him to absurd streaks. In 1999, he rattled off 4 gyro stage wins in a row. 4, back to back to back to back. While his rivals collapsed into ice baths, Mario was probably deciding which champagne brand to uncork. But if 99 was dominance, 2002 was pure theatre. At 35, an age when sprinters usually fade out, Mario rocked up to the World Championships in Zolder. Nobody gave him a chance, but he still smashed the sprint anyway, pulled on the rainbow jersey, and then set another record, 6 consecutive stage wins at the gyro, which, in his world, was 6 straight nights of partying. Cipollini never cared about rules. The purists hated it, but fans, they loved it, because Mario proved something the sport didn't want to admit. You can live like a rock star, skip the suffering, and still be the fastest man alive on 2 wheels. By the time he finally retired, his resume was insane. 42 gyro wins, 57 pro sprints, a rainbow jersey, and more tabloid headlines than training rides. Super Mario wasn't just a cyclist. He was cycling's first party animal, the man who proved you didn't need to conquer the Alps when you already own the afterparty.
Oh yes! Oh, perfect! That's incredible! Thanks, Chippo!
If Mario was the party, this guy was the fight that broke out after. A short fuse, a nuclear sprint, and 0 patience. He wasn't just fast, he was the Manx missile. This is the story of one of the most explosive, foul-mouthed, gloriously unfiltered riders the sport has ever seen. A man who tasted glory, humiliation, and above all, left his rivals choking in the smoke of his lunch. Meet Mark Cavendish. He was born on the Isle of Man, a place more famous for motorcycles than bicycles. Cav grew up tearing around in baggy jeans, riding second-hand bikes, and even delivering takeaway food just to afford entry fees. While future pros polished their cadence in French academies, Cav was winging it on worn-out chains and adrenaline. But somehow, all that rumble made him faster. 2007 rookie season. Most new riders ease in, find their legs, take the beatings. Not Cav. 11 wins in his debut year. It was like he skipped the tutorial and went straight to the boss level. At first, the world thought reckless, maybe a one-hit wonder, but then he started stacking sprint victories like empty beer bottles after a night out. From 2008 to 2012, he swept every podium in sight. 23 Tour de France stages in 5 years. In the 2009 Milan-San Remo, outsprinted Hausler in a photo finish at 70 km per hour. The man was simply unstoppable. But Cav wasn't just about speed. He was chaos with a microphone. Mid-race arguments. Exploding at rivals. Once told a fan to f*** off on live TV.
No, you can't.
And his podium moments? Never smooth. While other riders sprayed champagne with style, Cav slipped, fumbled the champagne bottle, and looked like the drunk uncle at a wedding who still left with the banquet. His celebrations were pure chaos too. Sometimes tears, sometimes rage, sometimes crossing his arms like a gangster dropping a mixtape. Fans loved it. Rivals feared it. Journalists, well, Cav was basically their full-time employee.
Is this live? Oh, sorry. Apologies.
But honestly, he'd probably scream at you right now if you're watching this and still haven't subscribed to Pedal Pulse. So unless you want Cav calling you out, hit the subscribe button. Mark Cavendish was fiery, messy, and unpredictable. But when he launched, nothing on earth, not rivals, not critics, not even his own podium slip-ups could stop him. But like every wild night out, the hangover always comes. And for Cav, the only thing that ever slowed him down wasn't rivals, wasn't age, wasn't even the Alps. It was crashes, illnesses, and the Epstein-Barr virus.
How was your day? That's perhaps the last race in my career now.
For once, from 2017 to 2019, the missile looked grounded. The same guy who nuked fields at 70 km per hour was now crawling just to finish. By 2020, people thought it was over. The bouncer had finally been thrown out of the nightclub. But Cav? Cav doesn't do quiet exits. Chaos doesn't retire. 2021 Tour de France. He'd been written off, signed as a late substitute, basically the cycling equivalent of inviting someone to the party out of pity. And then, boom, he takes over the event with 4 stage wins. The missile was back, screaming across finish lines like nothing had changed. And in the process, he tied Eddie Merckx's all-time record of 34 Tour stage wins, which he eventually broke in 2024.
Mark Cavendish, this is history! This is history!
Hard work wins races, sure. But sometimes skipping training camp and showing up hungover works just fine too. And if you survived all that madness, congrats! Click the next one. Trust me, it's got the same chaotic energy. And as always, thank you for watching.